Hi and welcome to Pet Pals. It is nice to be back after all the snow that we've had recently. So we are ready for short sleeves and lighter weight clothes and another opportunity to share with you animals that are available for adoption through the Frederick County Division of Animal Control. I'm Linda Shea. With me is Randy Cooper. We're going to take a look today at 5 of our dogs and 5 of our kittens that are looking for forever homes. First up is Drexel. Drexel is one of our senior pits on the adoption floor. He's about 6 years old. He's about 70 pounds, so he's a solid guy. And the thing I like best about Drexel is his maturity. He is not rambunctious. He's very senior, very mature in his demeanor. He's got great manners. He knows how to sit. He takes treats gently. He can be a little bit stoic, so a little bit difficult to read when folks are coming in to visit with him. But other than that, he is, as you can see, what you see is what you get with older animals, and that's kind of a continuing theme. He's very well mannered. Being 6 years old and having those manners on board means that he's not going to jump up on you as a puppy would. He's not going to be as rambunctious through the house and damage things as a puppy might. So there's all sorts of positives when you're looking at an older animal. At 6 years old, he does qualify for a senior pet discount, which means that instead of the $92.50 for his adoption fee, it would be $72.50, and that includes getting him neutered, current on vaccines that he needs. We do behavior assess all of our dogs, and the ones that you see on the adoption floor have been behavior assessed, and you have access as a potential adopter to that information. So if you are interested in a larger size, older dog, Drexel would be an excellent choice, and he is available for adoption. This little girl is Petunia. She's another example of a great senior animal. She is a beagle and about 9 years old. Petunia came to us originally back in January. She had been hit by a car, so the animal shelter does have a medical fund. And with that medical fund, we are able to provide medical care for animals, especially in emergency situations when it's warranted. So for Petunia, we had her seen at the vet. We had her taken care of the way she needed to in January, and we were able to adopt her out. Now it is about 3 months later, in March, and she's what we categorize as a return to shelter, meaning that the adoption did not work out. The people that adopted her say that she's too anxious in their home environment, and they were unable to keep her any longer. Part of our adoption contract, whenever we adopt out an animal, is that if the adoption doesn't work out, the animal has to be returned to the shelter. We do that for a few reasons. One, we want to be aware of maybe what went wrong, what we might have missed in the adoption process, what we should have discussed, other things that might come up, or information that we did not know about the animal until they were in a home environment. The other reason is that if an animal comes back to the shelter, we reevaluate for adoption, and we can place that animal again just to know where it goes. There are people that are reluctant to bring us animals either in the first place or return them to us, but we always assure you that we assess animals for adoption, and that is our primary goal, to get them either returned to the families which they belong to in the first place or to adopt them out to good families, and that is done through a screening process. But in the case of Petunia, it didn't work out, so she is here again. She is already spayed. She's about 27 pounds, so she's of good weight, possibly a little bit thin, but given the fact that she had some injuries back in January, being on the thin side is not a bad thing. And again, 9 years old, so her personality is definitely established. Beagles typically are very reliable in temperament. They make great family pets regardless of children. They're usually very tolerant, although parents, you want to make sure that any animal that's in your home, if you have young children, it's your responsibility to make sure that there's a mutual respect, that your kids understand that pulling ears and tails is not appropriate, regardless of how tolerant the animal is. But you want to teach them to take care of the animal, to love the animal, and certainly provide good care. So in the case of Petunia, she is 9. She also qualifies for an adoption discount, $20 off the regular adoption fee. So her adoption fee would be $72.50. We're looking for a family that has some patience, some dog experience, that can offer her a good home for the rest of her life. This sweet little puppy is Wilson. Wilson was brought to us previously owned, and the reason he was turned in, the owners say that he was not getting along with their other dog. However, they'd only had him for a short while and decided that it wasn't working and turned him into the shelter. In the interim, since he's been with us, Wilson's been in foster care, and he got along famously with that dog. So again, it might be just a specific dog issue, which we're not categorizing him as not getting along with dogs. What we do recommend, though, is that if you have an existing dog and you're interested in adopting one of our dogs, that you bring your dog in to do what we call a meet and greet, which is where we take them out on neutral territory and see how they interact just briefly. Sometimes it's not a full picture of how the dogs will interact, but it might gauge some insight as to how they might eventually interact. Wilson is only about 6 months old, so he is a puppy. He's very shy. He is color-coded green in the kennels. He's a little bit leery of strangers, of newcomers, so he definitely gives off that vibe when you walk through his kennel. But once he gets to know you, he's very affectionate, very well-mannered. He's fairly quiet. I know he can bark. I've never heard him bark. And I know you'll hear me say this regularly on Pet Pals, but he is my favorite animal in the shelter at the moment. So we're looking forward to placing him with somebody who preferably has some dog experience. Even though he is fairly gentle-mannered, he needs somebody that's going to continue to encourage those good manners of keeping his paws on the ground and not jumping up, taking treats gently, walking nicely on a leash. So he'll need somebody who's got, again, with puppies in general, you need to have patience and you need to have some sense of consistency. He's only about 42 pounds now, so he's on the slighter side of weight. We've already vaccinated him against rabies. We have tested him for heartworm, Lyme, Ehrlichia, anaplasma, and all of that is negative. Our puppy adoption fee is $150, and we do have what is called a puppy process. And sometimes there's either misunderstanding or misinformation, but with puppies, we know that so many people want puppies. However, we also know that puppies are very demanding and deserving of a family that can offer them time and experience and patience and put an effort into training them. So with Wilson as one of our puppies, we will take up to 4 applications, and that allows us to screen different homes so we can make the best match possible for what he's going to need. And even if you're one of the 3 families that may not end up with a puppy, that doesn't mean you're not a good family. It doesn't mean you're not a good candidate for adoption. It just means that when we look at the requirements of our certain puppy and the ability that you're able to provide, the things you're able to provide, it's just not the best match based on maybe up to 3 applications more. But Wilson is available now for adoption. If you're interested in visiting with him, he's no longer in foster care. He's back at the shelter, and we would love nothing more than to get him into a home quickly because he is a puppy and he is deserving of a lifelong experience with a full-time family. This little guy came to us as a stray from Waverly Drive in Frederick. He is a 3 to 4-year-old Chihuahua. We named him Horatio, so we gave a 7-pound dog a 4-syllable name. He is very sweet. He is color-coded orange. If you're not familiar with our color codes in the shelter, we have 3 for dogs, cats, bunnies, and other animals. And with dogs that are color-coded blue are the ones with the best manners, more than likely to make a good lap dog. The ones that are orange are sort of middle of the road. They've got good manners, they're social, but they're maybe a little bit shy or have a little more needy. So Horatio falls into that orange category, and I'm suspecting it's because he really doesn't walk on a leash. He likes to be carried. Those of you that are fans of this breed understand that entirely. That's sort of part of their makeup. One thing with little dogs, you want to make sure that they understand that they're little dogs. You want to make sure that you keep them safe because they may not realize. They have really no sense of size in the way that we do. So you want to make sure that he's kept safe, that he doesn't escape outdoors, that in interacting with bigger dogs, that everybody's got good manners. Coming to us as a stray, we don't have much information. We do, again, behavior assess all of our dogs, so we know that he is friendly with other dogs in the kennel. And the one common theme that I keep hearing, and I was reading on his profile, behavior assessment is that he likes to be carried. So if you have, if you've got muscles and you want to carry this little guy around with you, or if you're the type of person that's had Chihuahuas and you want to get one of those little carry packs, I'm sure he would appreciate that as well. As a stray coming in, we brought him up to speed on vaccines, preventatives, and again, he is a stray. We encourage people, if you are missing an animal, even if it's, say, a cat that roams inside and outside and that you don't necessarily see on a regular basis, at the moment that you notice that they're missing, you want to make sure you contact the shelter. Frederick County Division of Animal Control, we're at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. We're the one and only animal shelter in Frederick County. Animals are brought to us from all corners of the county as strays. We hold on to strays for 5 days in an effort to reunite them with their families. Within those 5 days, they're seen by a vet. Typically, we provide preventatives, but again, you don't want to wait. If you're missing an animal, it's imperative, and we can't stress that enough, that you call in immediately and then at the next available time come in the shelter to see if your animal is here. Your description of your pet may be entirely different than what's on our paperwork or that what we've described it as, and especially with different breeds. We've had German Shepherds come in as maybe Australian Shepherds, marked on paperwork as Shepherd mixes. There's just so many variables and combinations, and then when you get into colors, especially with cats, so many people think that tabby is a color as opposed to a pattern. So again, can't stress enough, this little guy came to us as a stray from Frederick City. So if you're missing a Chihuahua that looks like this, you want to make sure that you come in. At the moment, he's available for adoption, and again, this is little Horatio, our 7-pound, 1-ounce Chihuahua. Wedel is the last little dog we're going to take a look at for this week, but we always have more that come in. Every day we take in an average of about 14 animals at Animal Control. Wedel came to us as a stray from Appleton Place in Frederick. We have him down as about 7 to 9 months. And again, when animals come in as strays, we take a best guesstimate as to what their age is. We look at their teeth, we look at their body, we look at their maturity. So we have him down at about 7 to 9 months old. He's a boy, about 21 pounds, and from this angle he looks like a miniature German Shepherd, but he is a wire-haired terrier. He's got some scruffiness to his coat, especially around his muzzle, but those ears are very unique and very endearing. He's a sweet little guy. We have him color-coded green. He's a little bit shy and, as typical for puppies, not confident walking on a leash. You can tell he likes sitting on Randy's lap. When he gets to be fully grown, which I'm sure is going to encompass at least another 10 or 15 pounds, that is going to be up to his owners as to whether you want a dog that size to be a lap dog or not. A lot of times with puppies, you want to start them out. You want to set a precedent. So if he's allowed on furniture, you can let that happen. If you would prefer that as an adult they're not allowed on furniture, you want to start that training as soon as possible so they get a very consistent message. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines, on preventatives, on deworming. He does have a little bit of an underbite, so I'm not sure what breed mixes are in there, but that's one of the joys of shelter dogs. They are usually combinations that are one of a kind. So if you're looking for a very unique pet, one of a kind pet, you want to make sure you check out the Frederick County Division of Animal Control. This little guy is sweet. He's relatively quiet, but again, he can bark. When you are adopting a dog from us, especially a puppy, you want to come in, you want to spend some time visiting. Our kennel techs or volunteers are more than happy to kind of do that initial meeting with them, and of course you're allowed to, we encourage you to look over their paperwork, which includes our medical assessment, our behavior assessment, any information we have. Again, coming in as a stray, there's not a lot of history on Wedel, but moving forward, if there's any incidents, if we have any observations, those will be included as well. So again, this is Wedel. He's about a 7 to 9 month old wire-haired terrier mix, came from the Appleton Place location in Frederick City. So again, we are looking forward to adopting him to a forever family. We're going to go ahead and take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at 5 of our kittens that are looking for forever homes.
just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Did you know that one of the leading causes of death in America is motor vehicle accidents? Hello, I'm Sergeant Jody Maybush of the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. According to the Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration, each year traffic crashes kill more people in Maryland than homicides, and over 90% of total crashes are preventable incidents caused by driver error. Motorists can help law enforcement in preventing these tragedies by making the right choices on the road. Remember, speed kills, so slow down. For every mile per hour that you drive, the likelihood of you being involved in a crash significantly increases. Avoid distractions such as talking, texting, or emailing while you drive, and always wear your safety belt. The most important thing is that you arrive to your destination safely. So please, drive smart and help us in keeping Maryland roadways safe.
Looking to get fit this winter? Sign up for some of our fitness classes that will fit you best. Our classes range from Adult Active Yoga, Mighty Fit Yoga, Cardio Sculpting Party, Power Yoga, Mighty Fit Pilates, Charqui and Total Body Fit, Yoga Mind, Body and Spirit, Sula's Hoop Body Sculpt Class, or Walking Fitness Club. For more information, go to recreator.com.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. Now we're going to take a look at some of our kittens that are looking for forever homes. If you haven't noticed, the snow around your house is probably melted or melting, and that typically coincides with what we call the shelter kitten season, which typically runs from around April through the end of summer. And we are already seeing kittens that are coming in. So if you've been waiting for a kitten to add to your family, you might want to start looking at the shelter, just visiting us in the next few weeks. We have some in foster care already, but we do have some already on the adoption floor. Conrad is a good example of sort of a juvenile kitten. He's a big kitten. He's about 8 months old, already 9 pounds. So he's a big boy, but very young, very sweet, and we do consider him a kitten. As with all of the kittens and cats that come to our shelter, we do test them for 2 viruses that cats can carry, feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and all of the cats on our adoption floor have tested negative for those 2 viruses, and that's important to know if you have other cats already in your home. Again, he's about 9 pounds, came to us previously owned, and the reason Conrad was brought to us is that his family was moving and the landlord would not allow the cat to go with them. So something to consider whether you have pets already existing in your family, if you're anticipating a move, and then going to add pets, you really want to make sure that you are aware of what your landlord's rules and regulations are before acquiring a pet. They only had Conrad for a few months, moved, and now he's with us. But he's very sweet. He's got what we call bunny fur. It's very soft, textured, very thick and plush. And again, at 9 pounds, he's going to be on the larger side. So if you're looking for sort of a larger built cat, he'd be a good choice. Again, this is Conrad, about 8 months old and about 9.5 pounds. This little guy is named Apache. He came to us as a stray back in February, on February 23rd. So for me, looking at kittens on the floor, he's only about 5 to 6 months old. Having been here since February 23rd just seems like an incredibly long time. But Apache is very sweet. He's only about 5 pounds at this point. We have already neutered him because we know he's such a great candidate for adoption. He is missing a little bit of fur on top of his head, and the vets have looked at that, and it's just superficial. Kittens, even in stainless steel cages or playpens on our adoption floor, somehow manage to get into things, just like small children and puppies. So we're not sure if he maybe was a little enthusiastic when grooming, might have rubbed his head against the cage, and there was something on the outside that might have caused just a little bit of that fur loss or irritation, and him to pay attention to it. But that has certainly not changed his personality. Apache is affectionate, enthusiastic. He's all of those classic adjectives that you apply to younger kittens. 5 to 6 months old, he's going to be a kitten for another few months or so. And similar to all the other kittens on our floor and cats, we've tested him negative for leukemia and FIV. We've applied preventatives. We've offered him vaccines that he needs. And again, he did came to us as a stray from Murdoch Court in Frederick. So another reminder, and we can't say this enough, if you're missing a pet, you want to immediately call us, and then the next thing you want to do, as soon as our doors open, you want to be here. You want to physically come to the shelter and look through the shelter for your pet to identify if it's here or not. Sometimes the phone calls, the descriptions that we get just may not match, and there's nothing that replaces you actually coming in and walking the adoption floors and back in our isolation areas. So in the meantime, though, Apache is here with us. Again, has been here since February 23rd, so we are looking forward to finding him a forever home. A lot of the kittens that you're going to see on the floor, for some reason this season, seem to be incredibly large. This is Tomahawk. He came to us on March 7th. Previously owned, his family was moving, and they were unable to take him along. So again, while you can't necessarily predict life changes, you want to give consideration that if you move, if something in your family changes, that what will happen to your pets in the shelter should be a last resort. But right now Tomahawk is here with us. He's only about 8 to 10 months old, so we consider that a kitten, and he's already 8 pounds 10.5 ounces. So he's on the bigger side. He's not overweight, he's just a big cat. He's a beautiful red tabby. He's got white on him. When he came to us previously owned, he'd not been vetted at all, so we took care of that. One of the things that you need to realize in the state of Maryland, dogs, cats, and ferrets need to have a rabies vaccine by the time they're 4 months of age. So you want to make sure that you have a relationship with a veterinarian, at least to establish what your pet needs in terms of preventative vaccines. So often, especially with cats, animals come to the shelter, they're in a population of 100 plus other animals. If they've never had a vaccine, just like school children that go to school without vaccines, they don't have preventions on board to prevent them from getting sick. So oftentimes you'll see that where cats come in, within a week's time they have established an upper respiratory infection. That's not the case with Tomahawk, but the point here is that he had no vet care prior to coming to the shelter. He's a big, handsome guy. He is color-coded orange, came in with the name Tomahawk, and the people that brought him to us, I guess he was a stray initially. So we're looking forward to placing him in a home. He does have a brother, which we're going to take a look at in just a moment. But at the moment, this is Tomahawk and available for adoption. This handsome kitten is Rasmus. He is the brother to Tomahawk, who we just took a look at. Rasmus is also about 8 to 10 months old, gorgeous tabby, orange tabby with white, a little lighter colored than his brother, and he's about 9 pounds. So these boys are big, they are healthy, they are affectionate. Rasmus tends to be more of the talker of the two. So when you go and visit in the cage, if you feel like having a conversation, Rasmus is the one more likely to respond to any questions you might have. What we encourage you to do is, sometimes it can be overwhelming, the number of cats, especially starting this time of year and all the way through summer. Just the numbers are overwhelming. So ask for assistance. We've got plenty of volunteers and staff that are happy and to help you choose your next cat. You might want to narrow down age, gender, breed, but also you want to think about personality, because in any relationship, the personality is going to make or break the deal, whether it's a dog, cat, bunny, guinea pig. So you want to come in and spend some time, figure out a block of time that you can come in and just walk the adoption floor first. Just kind of walk around and get an idea of who's where. Take a look at the cats that might come up to the front of their cage if that's the type of temperament you're looking for. You might also want to take a look at some of the cats that might be a little more shy or reticent if that's the kind of personality that's more appealing. Cats are just as unique as their coat patterns and colors. So, and this time of year when we have so many, you want to make sure you have some forethought as to what you're looking for. But again, we are here to help. Again, Rasmus is only about 8 to 10 months old. He's a big boy. We have provided him everything that he needs so far, and now we're in the process of looking for a forever home. The last little kitten we're going to take a look at is this young lady. Her name is Tumbleweed. She came to us back on March the 8th as a stray from Pebble Court in Frederick, and she is also about 8 to 10 months old. So most of our kittens that we've taken a look at today are 8 to 10 months old. Tumbleweed is the only female that we've taken a look at today. She's a bicolor domestic shorthair. She's beautiful combination of gray and white, and she is one of our kennel technicians' favorite kittens. So that might also be a deciding factor when you come to look for a pet at the shelter, especially if you're looking at our feline population. You may want to just ask somebody, who's your favorite cat? Kind of like when you go to a restaurant. You might ask what the waiter's favorite menu item is. But Tumbleweed came to us as a stray, so we don't have a lot of information. The person that brought her in does note that she was very friendly upon intake. Again, we've provided all the medical preventatives that she is in need of. She's only just about 6 pounds, so she's sort of on the smaller side. She does have a cut across her nose. I'm not sure how much the camera will pick up, but even within the confines of a cage, kittens are very active, rambunctious, so it looks like she kind of scraped herself on something. We're medicating that with it's just superficial, so we're providing what's called Silvadene ointment just to offer some mild antibiotic quality with a healing quality as well. She's color-coded green. A lot of times most kittens are color-coded green just because they are so active, but as you can tell, Tumbleweed has no problem being a lap cat and certainly is very comfortable in front of a camera. So again, if you're looking to add a feline to your home, we encourage you to come in to the shelter to visit. If you're missing a pet, again, you want to come into the shelter. Can't stress that enough, where you physically get in your vehicle, drive to 1832 Rosemont Avenue during the hours that we're open to come in and look for your missing pet. But this is Tumbleweed, arrived as a stray, but she will be hopefully adopted quickly and to a forever home. And thanks again for being with us this week on Pet Pals. We always enjoy showing off our animals, and we would certainly encourage you and invite you to come to the shelter during open hours so that you can visit with some of our adoptable animals. Thanks again for being with us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Pet Pals.